Thank you for joining us again tonight. We've been having this conversation all week about mental health. Um, we started on Sunday, and if you hadn't seen any of the ones previous to tonight, please be sure to go back and watch the others. I think it's been very beneficial, and I'm always preaching to me first. I don't ever want to be one of those people who pretends like I got it all together. I don't. I don't want to be one of those people that's untouchable, and I'm so full of the Holy Ghost and so spiritual that I I'm not that guy. I have struggles like everyone else. I get frustrated. I get mad. I'm imperfect. Period. And anyone who says anything that's good about me, the Lord is bringing that out of me, because in myself I fall short of the will of God every single day. And luckily, we have a God who is forgiving. We have a God who is all-knowing and all-merciful. And so he deals with me the way I need to be dealt with. And I have to apologize a lot, especially from my mouth. I used to be a really angry person. I used to fight a lot, but I've gotten away from the fighting part, physically anyway. And I often have to apologize for my verbal attacks and my fights. Because I got a strong wit and a quick tongue, and I don't even have to curse you out to, curse you out, if you know what I mean. I don't have to use the cuss words. And so I'm imperfect, like the rest of us. I have dealt and struggled with mental health. I've had some episodes, and I talked about that earlier in the week. And I am really fortunate that I had a community of people who were willing to prop me up when I couldn't prop myself up. And I'm a giver. I try to help people all the time. It's something that is really big in my heart, just the helping people. I enjoy helping people. But when I couldn't help myself, when I needed, I had a community of people that could help prop me up. And I had some relationships that were close enough that I was able to ask for help. I thank God for Pastor Sutherland. I can't tell you how many nights, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning, I'm calling him and Pastor, could you just please pray for me? And by the way, if you're in a church where you can't get access to your pastor, I'm not telling you to leave the church. I'm saying make sure there's someone there that you can call, whether it's a pastor, deacon, someone who has a close relationship with God. It could be a member, but make sure that there's someone that you can call when you are in need. When you need to hear from the Lord, when you can't pray yourself, make sure that there's someone in there. But I thank God for Pastor Sutherland on many of occasions. I talked about being hospitalized with depression, and I was having a chemical imbalance at a point. And I think him for just being there, and even after getting out, for receiving. There's a lot of times when you do have like a crisis, people tend to act differently after the crisis. And I'll give you an example. If you've had somebody who had COVID, and after they were over their COVID, you still didn't deal with them the same. Arm's length. And that's just a human flaw in trying to protect ourselves. Oftentimes we hurt people, because we're trying to protect ourselves. And the thing that we really don't realize a lot of times is, in protecting ourselves, not only do we hurt people, but we can hurt ourselves. If you've ever seen Discovery Channel, lions, tigers, animal kingdom, all the predators, when they are attacking an animal, they don't attack the herd. They try to find one that is going to separate from the herd. And the one who separates from the herd, that's the one they jump on. The one who is away from the herd, that's the one they jump on, because the herd gives them a certain level of protection. Because as a herd, they probably could fight off a tiger, a lion. They could, as a herd, they could hold their ground. But as an individual, they have no chance of fighting off the predator. As an individual, they don't have the strength, the tools, and oftentimes you'll see, even like I like watching the hyenas, but like they'll just pick at them and wait till they tire them out. They'll just bite on the leg and just pick at them. Before they go in for the kill, they just tire them out, and then eventually, whenever the animal is tired out, that's when they go in. So tonight we want to talk about community. This is Friendship Community Church of God, but we want to talk about the importance of community. And in today's society, there's a pride and there's a mood that we can do it on our own. We can be by ourselves. If we have money, then we don't have to answer to anybody. We dismiss ourselves from any type of authority or accountability. We can say what we want. We can do what we want when we want it. That's it. And there's a lot of people who strive for that position in life where they are able to live and exist alone. I don't need any friends. No new friends. I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone to tell me anything. I got this. And it really alienates us from God's plan. God has created us to be in community. In the history of the world as I know it, as you know it, there's only been one person who was born without a family. Everyone else on the face of the planet, God inserted them to a family at the beginning of their life. That's the only way that you get here, is inside a community. You have, before you are born, you have parents, grandparents, oftentimes you have siblings. Everyone is born into a family. Now, sure, lots of families are dysfunctional. Lots of families can't stay together. Lots of families, break up. Lots of families reform and join. And families themselves are messy. But we're still born into it. We never lose the need for community. We never lose that. Both for our good, so that people can identify when we're not ourselves. For our good, so that we can get help when we need it. Two people can accomplish a lot more than one. For our good, when we need to vent, when we need to just pour out. For our good, when someone has already done it and they can come and give us the wisdom and the knowledge on doing a certain task. For our good, there's so many goods. There are a few babies that would make it without someone watching over them. For our good. And sometimes at our displeasure, when people talk about you behind your back, when people put out your business that you didn't want to share, you thought it was between you and them, when people discount your trust, when you get cheated on, when you get lied on, when people hurt you. For bad. When people steal from you, when people take from you, when people cause you to fear or invoke fear into you, when people just do stuff. People are messy. And so we have the pluses and we have the minuses. And God still calls us to be part of a community. God still tells us to have a multitude of counselors. God still tells us that Jesus tells Peter, feed my sheep. But the sheep are messy. Feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. There is something, there's a story, there is a knowledge, there is a wisdom, there is a heart that God has put into you, and it's not for you. God called us to the body of Christ. And the things that he gives to you are not just for you. And you are selfish. Yeah, I said it. You are selfish if you are keeping it for yourself. God gives you inspiration. You keep it to yourself. God gives you a way of doing things and you keep it to yourself. God gives you a way to figure out a problem or a way to elevate and you keep it to yourself. That is selfish. Keeping it to yourself. But he calls us to be conduits, that everything that he pours into us, that we can pour out. And so he can keep pouring into us knowing that it's going to get to other people. That's what we are called to do. And I love the fact that he calls us to be a body of individuals that have individual tasks, that have individual gifts, that have individual struggles. But yet, he calls us to support each other. He calls us to support each other. If you've ever hit your hand or hit your thumb with a hammer, I don't know why. Why do it goes in your mouth? Your mouth had nothing to do with it. But he calls us to help. When you have a scratch in your back, your hand's gonna be the one to take care of that scratch. When you need to get somewhere, your feet are gonna be the ones that get you there. Unless you can walk on your hands, some people are talented. He calls us to community. He calls us to be together. And, in a social distant world that we are currently in, even in social distancing, he still calls us to count on each other, to rely on each other, and to build each other. So, the question for tonight, and you can put it in the comments below. Who is in your community? Who are the people that you can call on? In the midnight hour, in the early morning, in the mid-afternoon, who are the people that you can count on? And the way I want you to do it, if you would just say thank you and put their name in the chat. Thank you and put their name in the chat. Thank you and put their name in the chat. I'd like to see 100 names if possible. To just thank the community around us. And if you're one of those people who doesn't have a community, I want you to put in the chat, I'm looking for my community. I'm looking for some people I can trust. I'm looking for some people I can talk to. I'm looking for some people I can count on. Thank you for my community. I'm looking for it. Because God has called us to it. Adam is the only one that has ever been born without a family. And families are a lot of things. Families are messy. Church is messy. But that's what God called us to do. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. In closing, I want to say community is important in the aspect of mental health, because when you are not yourself, when you are not thinking like yourself, there needs to be someone there who can identify that. Not only that, but the professionals, they're part of our community. The saints, they're part of our community. I know there's some people, especially during the pandemic, that I found myself missing, and I don't necessarily know why I was missing them. Previously, I wouldn't have considered them part of my community, but they're part of my community. If they're missing, I notice. If I'm missing, hopefully they notice. So when talking about mental health, surround yourself with a community. Taking yourself away from a community, number one, it's not God's will and purpose for us. Number two, it leaves you really susceptible to the attack. Thank you so much for being with me this whole week. Thank you for just, taking this seriously. For any other ministers that are out there, this is a conversation we need to start with our people. We need to start looking at mental health in view of the Bible. God bless you.